Thanks a lot everybody for coming. Looking forward to this session. Before we start, I would just like each of you to introduce yourself. So just say who you are and then answer the question. If you could change one thing in the perception the media gives to the wider public, what would you want to change? Let's start there.
Hi, my name is Sarah. One thing I would like the media to change their perception is, can I say two?
Sorry? Yeah, you can say three.
So definitely mental health and the way that people should deal with mental health and how people should handle it, and also of course like Muslims, DMV students, things like that.
Yeah. So the perception of mental health and the perception of Muslims by the wider public, right?
So my name is Nazrin, and probably one thing I'd love to change, there's so many things, probably the fact that if you're like Muslim, that you somehow have to be like apologetic because of like other things in the media and like the minority become like ruling it the majority, like there's like terror attacks.
Yeah. Okay, great. So also the perception of Muslims. If you can also say what do you do? Like, are you all SOA students, or you can just mention also what your affiliations are basically.
I'm Rosina, and I'm a intern at Base Forum. And one thing I'd like to change is, again, like the perception of religion, especially like religion portrayed as a negative thing, and especially in this day and age. And specifically like Islam.
Great.
My name is Karen. One thing I'd like to change is the perception of Muslim.
Muslim women perception, right? And you're from SOAS or?
No, I'm human rights student.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Adam. I'm Leeds-based. One of my roles is I religious support worker, so I work with a lot of teens. Perception of inner city teenagers, I think needs to change, and media needs to be less archaic and traditional, and the news needs to be more appealing to teens. So the way in which news is broken down for more young people, and the way in which young people are described by the news needs to change.
Great.
And fast.
Great.
I'm Ali Shikachi. I'm a student studying business management, and one thing I'd like to change about the media is
can you guys hear in the back? Otherwise, if you can also
I'd say to focus much more on equality and promoting it around the world, just to kind of get people to really focus on applying that in their life.
Yeah.
Essentially.
The power of equality, basically. Yeah.
My name is Ruth. I study English and Spanish at Nottingham. I guess one thing I'd like to change is sort of similar to Adam's, like the perception of teenagers in general and young people in the media and
Right.
My name is Ahmed, and I'm a project officer. In terms of the media, one thing I would like to change is that is for people to realise that there are spectrum of views across society, and not just one person needs they want to go into the mental practice kind of thing.
Yeah.
My name is Hussein. I'm a student at UCL. One thing I'd like to change about the media is the stereotypical view of people of other countries, like especially, for example, the East or South America, for example.
Great.
My name is Zyla, I'm a student at UCL, and I would like to change the distraction tactics that I often think goes on. I think that there'll be a genuine debate that needs to happen, and then headlines will revolve around something silly and unrelated, and obviously very polarised.
Yeah. So the facts behind the story or the real story.
I think a perfect example of that is the headscarf debate, whether we want to ban it, which is a completely ridiculous concept, but it distracts from the real issue of how to integrate communities, and we make it about something superficial and unimportant, and not even something we really need to be discussing.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dina, and I'm studying at Queen Mary. And like one thing that I'd like to change is like the media's perception of like BME communities being like incompetent, and like they're always like seeking to gain things from like the country they're at, or like just kind of like.
Yeah. Great.
Hi, my name is Aisha. I just finished my MSc in public policy, and if I could change one thing, it'd be the perception of the word terrorism. And it explains itself, but just that when an event happens, the definitions the media give for terrorism and who it involves in what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
My name is Linda, just finished my law degree at Hertfordshire Uni. The one thing that I would like to change is the perception of people in politics tends to be rich aristocrats, but actually there are a vast range of people with vast backgrounds that have positions of power.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Remy. I'm an intern at Faith Forum and Politics and International Relations graduate. If I could change one perception, is that there is that religions are always at a conflict and are divided, but in reality there is actually more that they share and more goodwill that they have between them than most medias portray.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Laura. I just finished my International Relations and History degree at SOAS. There's two things. One would be the coverage of, I guess, the refugee crisis, because I think that there's a lot of otherization that takes place, and this whole idea that they are somehow less, or, there's a whole process of dehumanization that occurs when we're talking about refugees that really needs to be changed. And the second thing is maybe, like this is a more general thing, but adding more context, because I know how hard that can be in terms of adding more context.
Okay, a bit like
yeah, because we can't just put information out there without giving it a basis.
Yes.
And I think that's something that really lacks in wider media.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Naima. I'm an economics student at UCL. If there's one thing I could change, I would change the perception of third world countries, just because they're always presented as things, as countries that need to be saved, whereas they have resources and they have things that we could actually build on, instead of just portraying them as poverty-stricken countries that have to always need aid dependently.
Hi, my name is Nora. I'm a history student at SOAS. If I could change anything, it would be wider representation in media.
We have a presentation.
In media, just wider representation.
Okay, a bit like the multiple voices somebody mentioned.
I'm Sabrina. I'm a law graduate from Sussex. One thing I would like to change in the media is that the way a lot of things are perceived, like for example the Israel-Palestine conflict, and the way not much context is given, a lot of like assumptions are made.
Yeah.
I'm Nathan Alka, I studied geography at London. I'd like to change the perception of
Yeah.
My name is Matthew. I just finished my master's here at SOAS. I'd like to change a lot of things in the media, but one thing I'm down on is how conflict zones are portrayed. Just relating to what Selena said, especially in the Middle East.
My name is Hannah. I've just finished a politics degree at LSE. I think the one thing I would like to change is the perception that politics has to be reported like a game, but rather than actually engaging with stories, it doesn't have to be sensational.
Yes.
My name's Elsie. I'm a nursing student, and I run my own CIC. If I could change anything about the media, I would change the culture of like mainstream media, like stuff like Daily Mail, and the way that they just make everything a joke. They make like real life stories a joke. They make real life human beings a joke, and it's just not acceptable. And I change the way that it's not. I'll change the way that it's kind of like ruled. It's not ruled, but like how people are. Like the responsibility that people have to put out some information, and whose responsibility is to be mindful of what is inappropriate and what is appropriate.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Ali. I work with Mustafa. I'm here to observe today.
Okay. And would you want to change something in the media?
I'd like to change a lot of things in the media. I share a lot of the views of the people here today. One thing that I like to focus on is things in the Middle East, and I think there's a lot of negative perception the media gives of the Middle East, and hopefully we can be able to change that.
Yeah. Heather, you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Haida. I'm a project manager for Integrity UK. We're basically a research tank looking at the Middle East in particular, the conflicts in the Middle East. That's me.
And I'm also Haider, but written differently. I'm an investment manager at a private equity fund in London, but the reason I'm here today is that I'm part of Turn to Love, just as Haider is, Mustafa, Samira, etc. And Turn to Love is a campaign that has gone out to try to bring voices out, as many of you mentioned, different voices with facts on topics like the ones you mentioned, from the perception of Muslims to the perception of youth, etc. So I think many of the topics you mentioned will be are very related to what we've tried to do, Return to Love. What we'll do today is we'll briefly talk you through some of the campaigns we've done as case studies. So the campaigns we've done, when we started, we hoped to achieve 5 million views. And we thought we were setting a really high bar and a really high target. In the end, by now we've reached 300 million views across the world. Right, so what we want to do today is look at these campaigns and say, what is it that made them successful? What is it that got them out there? So that you guys can take that away, learn from that, and hopefully build another whole bunch of campaigns on these topics you are passionate about and you mentioned, to get to the next billion views, hopefully. At any point, if you have questions, feel free to interrupt. We'll also we'll do a very short theoretical piece of maybe 10 minutes or so at the start, and then it will become very interactive, where actually we'll have you guys do stuff in a more interactive way. So this is the agenda. I'll skip through it and we'll just start. So introductions we've done. Really great group. Both of you didn't get a chance to say your affiliation. So if you, are you from SOAS or from?